We're going to take a walk through the week of August 31st and the following 7 days. So yes, this is the first week of September. I've got that bucket, that basket, whatever the heck you want to call it, a trisket, a trasket. You know, the Virgo stuff, all about the details, making something better, trying to make improvements on the little things. This is that energy that says, leave it better than you found it. This energy is our job, our daily routines, our domestic world where we live, what goes on at home, you know, the amount of time you spend at home, what you do there, to-do lists, our well-being and our health. And I also want to make sure that I include, because it's been coming in so strongly for the last couple of weeks now, the vagus nerve. Virgo is digestion in the body. It's your health, but it's your digestion and the connection of, you know, the second brain of the body, the gut. When Mercury sits in the Virgo energy, it is squaring, angling in a very difficult, strong way, Gemini energy. And that's kind of tricky because guess what? That same Mercury rules Gemini. And there lies the duality, the dual nature of talking and focusing and hyper-focusing and, you know, just picking apart the details, the analytical brain. And then this part, which is scattered all over the damn place with the details, but just can't even focus on one thing, is everywhere. Because of the square, the stress and tension from Virgo, my daily routines, my home life, my work life, and the angle with and stress with communication. Guess what happens when communication doesn't go okay, right? Then everything else is under stress. And that's part of it, right? Gemini, coworkers, housemates, neighbors, siblings, learning, teaching, sales. Yeah, this is the mind energy, Gemini, Mercury, the mind energy. So it's under stress and tension as Mercury goes through Virgo, which means that if we're not paying attention to our health and well-being, we may notice additional stress. So that's how we kick this week off in a very strong Virgo state of mind, because the sun is also in Virgo, and Mercury and the sun will stay in Virgo for this entire week. Now that takes us over to Venus. Venus is your money, your values, and your desire energy. This is going to be important to keep on the back burner while we're thinking about the details, while Mercury is planning, while Mercury is gathering, you know, all the little bits of information and plotting and saying, okay, this makes sense. Here's the big picture. Here's what I want to improve upon, connected to values and partnerships. Authority figure degree. This is boss energy. This literally is work. Relationships that I have that are work, relationships that I have that I'm very serious about. These are people that I'm willing to compromise for. The long-term commitment with relationships, personal and professional. This is the beginning phase. This is the shadow zone where Venus travels through her retrograde. So remember, love, money, desires, cravings, my money in the bank, our shared values. And from 22 to 8 degrees of Scorpio is the shadow zone area. So keep all this in mind. Look in your chart for your Libra energy. See if you have anything between 22 in Libra and 8 degrees of Scorpio. These are areas in your life where you will be rethinking the partnerships and your shared values, shared desires, bonded energy. This is also insurance money, inheritances, taxes, tariffs, blood, relations, energetic bonds, the invisible bonds. There's a lot of karmic energy here, trauma, tragedy, wounds, and ultimately healing. This is the psychology. This is where we go for additional help. Venus will be angling the cardinal signs this week because she's at 22 and then she ends up around 27, 28 degrees by the end of the week. So that means your Cancer energy, Venus is throwing a square. So that's home and family, mom and nurturing. Do you have anything in Cancer? 22, 27, 28 degrees. Because it's Venus, she can bring gifts, but she does provide some extra tension and stress. So that might require some maneuvering. I'm not overly concerned because we have strong Mercury in Virgo. So communication is clear. It's direct. The caution would be it's too nitpicky. If it goes overboard on seeking perfection, that is where the problem will arise. We have the partnership degree right at 26. It is in a retrograde, so this is very serious as well. Our long-term partnerships are really being analyzed. Because it's a retrograde in red, we are the ones doing the analyzing. We are the ones internalizing, thinking long-term, like, God, is this really worth it? Does it stack up? Is the long-term financial security, is the security going to be there for me? Right? Is the stress and the tension, is all the hard work worth it? It's going to be tied into this basket, this bucket. Venus will trigger this bucket this week. But before, give me 1 second. Okay. We have one other thing that I want to make a quick mention about. Uranus energy. It is going to do a retrograde. Now, the retrograde does not begin this week, but we're getting close. We're in countdown mode. It gets to 5 degrees and 41 minutes on September 10th. Have a major effect on your mind, on what you're thinking about, on what you're talking about. Strong, independent energy, folks. So again, the retrograde goes from 5:41 of Gemini back to 1 degrees and 40 minutes in Gemini, September 10th. We go to the bucket. Let's take a peek here. Judges, the justice and the judicial system. It activates the North Node in Aquarius, which is group energy, technology, authority figures, boss energy and power, and the future. This is the collective. This is humanity. This is supposed to be highly altruistic energy, looking out, humanitarian goals, strong independent energy. It is also the peak of a kite that's in this chart, almost an extreme, the rebelliousness, this I'm going to go my own way. I have original thought. I have divine downloads that come through. We should absolutely expect the unexpected. So it's double amplified because it's at the peak of this kite and it is part of this basket. Chiron, which brings in another layer of Venus because Chiron is in Taurus, the wounds about our values. You got to make choices. You got to say, well, shit, we got a freezer full of meat. We don't want to spend money on that. So maybe we'll put the generator on there, right? You're making choices and saying, this is what's most important to me, whatever that is for you. So this is the Chiron energy, and that is also part of this bucket. But again, that's why Venus is huge this week, and because of the shadow zone stuff. So remember, partnership and shared values. My money, our money, my values, our values, and those relationships, personal and professional. Venus shows up again because she's the one who's going to trigger this bucket over who and what I value, who and what I can't live without. Creature comforts, desires, your income, what you spend your money on, what you say, hey, that's not worth it. I'm going to hold off. This is that energy. And this is the basket. So Venus gets here. She will trigger this Jupiter energy, which is a focus on freedom and philosophy on life, beliefs, justice, equality, religion, spirituality, and the future. This is the 27 degrees. This is the galactic center point. Judgments, subconscious judgments. She triggers this come the weekend. This is when the bucket gets triggered. Now, it can be beneficial for some people. Doesn't have to be a disaster. It can be where there are challenges, but then there are eases that are created because look what Venus does. She's in air, and what does she end up doing by the end of the week? She trines the North Node beautifully. It becomes a nice, beautiful, strong trine with the future, with technology, with humanity, with social systems, with services, with authenticity, with independent power, group energy, unions, friends, original thinking, original thought, my ability to be detached, which is a huge lesson with Scorpio and Taurus energy. The ability to be in the world, but not of it, right? The understanding this is really convenient. This is really nice to have. But if for some reason I can't have this, is it going to kill me? Can I find a way to carry on, to move on? Can I be detached? The lesson of Buddha. And can I go forward? The lesson of detachment. And so you notice, right, the Aquarius energy exactly squares the Scorpio energy. It exactly squares Scorpio energy, and it exactly squares Taurus energy. You see that? So I would expect by the end of the weekend, some big announcements, information with news in terms of business and the markets and technology, stock market, maybe possibly real estate markets, housing market, that kind of stuff, because Elgo will get an angle that'll be a uncomfortableness. It'll be an irritation and agitation to my values. Okay. So that wraps up this week, but keep in mind about Uranus energy, because Uranus is getting slower. And when I say Uranus is getting slower, it means it stands still before it begins retrograding. So we're in the countdown here. Starting this week, it's moving at a snail's pace, which means different, unusual, and disruptive is on the menu.